So what people do not understand, and they continue not to understand, is that a war in Palestine and Israel is very similar as when you see gangs fighting on streets of Chicago or New York or wherever in beginning of last century, as we watched in the movies Al Capone and the rest. You have gangs fighting. There is no correct side there. That is exactly situation Palestine Israel. There is no correct side there because both of the sides are engaged in criminal affairs for 2 millenniums. I am talking here for 15 years about the initial sin. Are they not talking about initial sin as well? Are they not? Are they not talking in the Bible about initial sin? What they're talking about in Bible about? What Jesus' bloodline is all about? No, a nation is not a Jesus. Jesus is a person, not a nation. A person or persons that they are using in a given period of time. Both sides are using this uh, 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 2 millenniums old scheme. Has become financial scheme that is running the entire planetary system, and you continue to keep me in prison and you continue to walk ahead as you want to do it and you want to be in power, and you're being paid by exactly that same gang criminal money, but you continue to see there's nothing wrong about it. 15 years you're ignoring what I'm talking here. Of course they're going to fight their gangs. They're gangs. They're fighting around one same church. For God's sake, wake up. For God's sake. By now you would all know what that means. Stop pretending you don't know what's going on here. Continuing to live in a silence means accepting to live on levels of gangs of New York, Chicago, and the rest. Because that is what these two are right now. And you see on a big scale exactly same damage. They're damaging each other. That is what war is. War is two gangs in fight. That is exactly same scenography as when you see it on the streets of Chicago. Exactly same situation. Completely same situation. Just on larger scale with larger in higher dimension. In substance, it is about two criminal groups or criminal fighting each other. There is no correct side there. Simply, there is no correct side there. Usually, when we judge a war, we put all of the romanticism and patriotism there, and it is always some very wrong side and some very correct side. That is a very wrong way of projecting and understanding war. War on this planet has not happened out of glorious, noble motivations. It has happened out of gang level of position of alliances, certain gang alliances that are going on in war for pure material concept, not because war causes material blah 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 effect. No, the gangs go in war because they fight on something very specific. They fight on generating wealth out of something. There is no noble, there is no patriotic, there is no correct side there. And never will be. As long as we talk about this kind of 2 millenniums ago, 2 millenniums, all of the same psychology of extremely predatory behavior on the planet, extremely predatory behavior surfacing the planet. That is not going to go away. It also we discussed that most of the planet is not educated. 100 years ago, 90%, if not 95%, was completely not educated just 100 years ago. Today, we may say 30% of the planet is not, it is educated. 70% is not. Which means very prime, out of this 30% educated, maybe just 10% know how to control their temper and their behavior. And know, and you can say they're noble, they're, let's say, noble, but also peacemakers. 10% of humanity. 90% is either prime, completely uneducated, easily driven by variety of, easily driven by whatever and whoever, easily driven. Then 20% has nothing to do with controlling its temper or its morale or being ethical or whatever. It is opportunism, opportunism, opportunism. All I could have heard when I started this conversation, I'm going to be opportunistic. I would be feel fool if I'm not going to use this opportunity or this opportunism. And it's going like crazy. It's going like crazy. What is going like a crazy? Earthians, what is going like a crazy? I'm going to say therefore, out of 100%, 10% only, we can say some noble, some moral, ethical, and saintly population. 90% opportunism, 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 opportunism. Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. 90% of population. That is why the top of the pyramid look like a top of the pyramid. Because only 10% of the entire planetary population can keep situation in control. And 90% are there to use it as far as they can. As far as they can. 90% are still wild animals. That is what human is right now as we speak. America does not owe to the world. The world owes to America. I have to notice that what surrounds me within some kind of pledge to security and assistance looks like unhealthy and rather overweighted and with very poor diet people. I have to notice that my brother also somehow drives on that line. Well, I'm feeding with first class hotel 5 stars food quality the person that act more like a creature in my life than a benefactor, the one that is holding me as a prison in a prison in a box like a hostage, reminds me to the entire condition England versus America. America is burning itself out to be in service to English house, although everyone says other way around. No, it is exactly how it looks. America is disposable here. And the crown holder is still England. The main benefactor continue to be England. And via England, we can notice entire Muslim, especially pro-Iran, Syria, Afghanistan, that level of population, somehow managing to take here the prevailing presence within the entire concept of English monarchy and literally use America as disposable. And if that means entire Middle Eastern monarchy to empty its pockets, well, then it means. If that means entire monarchy of Middle East to empty its pockets, then it means, because it is finally about time that we find out what exactly these are cashing out under nomination oil. Art under investigation. America to immediately start process of recovery of America. We want America returning to healthy lifestyle and to be taken care of, especially the most principal population of white America, because they have become the most targeted of all. Now, I hate when I continue to rule the world as from the grave. So I would rather declare the entire world frozen until I get my position from where I would like to engage people in much more specific manner, or otherwise they can turn upside down my words and nothing on the ground will land properly. So it is to be a rule. When there is a leader, there is to be suitable in effect effective position as well, or the planet is committing crime. This planet is committing collective crime for quite some time, and as we speak. And this planet will need to accept, at initial point, participating in collective crime. In that context, I think it is unnecessary now that I point the principal structure of the principal imperial family as it happens in my circles, and to the extent that today I am the principal crossing point, that is the active house of Highlander, and when it is in question imperial heritage of the territory of the Central Ancient Plateau, therefore, I'm going to notice the exact and precise formation of it. In that context, I'm going to say second important person after my kids in my life is my brother, and then would be my mother and father, because nothing can here defeat the actual genetic relationship in when it comes to these matters of feeling, or how you feel about a person. The emotions and our feelings are still very much driven by the genetic relationship and genetic connection. That is why the strongest feelings you have versus your kids, but also versus your family, as it is father, mother, brother, sister. These are the strongest relationships. Strongest emotional charting is there in genetic card, while husband is a foreigner. And you would never feel about husband in the way how you would feel about genetic related members of your family. So today, after my kids, the most important person is my brother, because my parents are not alive anymore. But in any case scenario, it would have been and always was my brother. I would not like to hear that Serbia has been mistreating my brother in all of this time, because Serbia would not have right to that. Husband is very weak position in someone's life. When it is in question monarchy, husband is very weak position. Of course, if we talk about real monarch, if we are not talking about fakes and doubles. In real monarchy that really is based on real on matters of real emotions, and strong, obviously, much stronger emotional card happens here. The intensity is much higher, because clearly it is higher concentration of about entire energetic vibe altogether. So emotions are also more intense and comes on surface more clearly what are the real emotions versus the fake emotions. So I'm bringing this as a matter of ruling when it comes to imperial protocol, because we are now returning to it in real terms. Therefore, I would not like to hear that Serbia of my father was mistreating my brother, because that would not make at all any sense. Serbia is therefore not Serbia of my husband, or his or sister-in-law. My Serbia is Serbia of my father and of my brother. And that is going to bring us directly in America and much more closer to America, because today the active figure is my brother. In that context, you see how far America of my brother, which is informant of, I think closer would be Christie, Governor Christie, how that plays actually, and how America becomes now present in this imperial story. At the moment, America is having highest place in the imperial story after my son and my daughter. Accordingly, if we are going to follow this kind of identity charting, America is holding very significant and very strong place at the moment. It doesn't matter who is elected as executive. We are talking about identity card here, and we are talking about some kind of recalibrating of the territories within the imperial parameters, because you're still holding very much to the imperial flags. Because clearly it is important in when it comes to personality. That is why we are pulling out the imperial genetic card, because we want to talk about identity, personalities, and value systems again. It is important that you get more correct impression of what would be principal OSC around which is going to recalibrate the entire historic integrity. And I have to say this today: Russia and China and Japan, how it feels when you step on a mine bigger than all of your territories united. How it feels, Russia, stepping up on mine. Russia, how it feels when you step up on a mine. China, with all of your history of the strongest mafias in the world, and Japan, same. How it feels when you step on a mine. I'm very glad you learned today the real meaning of the notion mine, Russians. I'm very happy you managed to learn the real meaning of the word mine. How it feels, Russia, when you step on your mine and still you cannot accept the news. How it feels, Russia. Russia, how it feels. Macedonia and Serbia, how it looks like, how it feels when you step up on a mine. Makedonija i Srbija, kako izgleda koga će stapneš na sopstvena mina? Makedonija in Srbija, ova prašanja će morate da odgovorite so otvoreni oči, ne so zatvoreni oči. Kako izgleda da se zastane na sopstvena mina, Srbijo i Makedonijo? If I'm to develop this further, it would be also a question of what genetic base was used for producing America, and how far that was actually Middle East platform. Now that is what is going to cause a bit more carefulness when where I would not like to reach some kind of stampede now of America reincarnating out of this as principal imperial subject without being clarified here what are the surrounding circumstances, either when we talk here relevance and the entire concept of a central plateau in the way how I am bringing here, developing the importance of the civilizational development on main parameters, and providing now, correcting it with providing proper hierarchy, which starts with the properly recognized value system and entire concept of behavior, which in my case scenario is much more centered to intelligence and teaching and behavior, real code of ethics, real title delivered on the basis of real accomplishment, but we don't have here narrow political boundaries. We have planetary protocol, and you have as a standard overall human concept and realization of human dimension within the most important aspects of human platform. As we talked here, individual, but also identity, but also family, responsibility, emotional importance of emotion and emotional intelligence, sensitivity card. Here behavior become very much a reflection of your emotional charging, and everything else is political. Now, as we are driving all of this closer to what is the nature of the human dimension, human protocol, you get a very strong family protocol here. Although it was in monarchical terms, all of that somehow charted, it was missing a recognition of imperial family, a recognition of planetary family, and ultimately we fail. It has been lost from perspective how territories should have been connected and recalibrated, or even further developing out of what principle, what members of the family would have principal position, what national matrices would have more principal place to take. These are matters that today will need to be taken into consideration. And although it might be that I have liberated America to some extent, while I need to deliver my work still, and it's still very much in conflicting line with demonstrated American politics, American national imperial politics. I have made very strong here statement that I have no intention to recognize the world that is going to have much stronger presence to Middle East, and where Russia become today wasted within that kind of waiting, and China and Japan drawn into it because of genuine disconnect they always have as a problem. I would not like to see the world going further in direction of Nikola Tesla, of Shia, of Iran population. So let's do not get confused, because we have on stake entire alphabet of humanity that is. To that extent, America is going to be held responsible to navigate properly on all of this. And I'm going to find that in that context, even who is going to be president of America is going to matter. Because we will need a much more clear indication in what direction America is going to recalibrate now. although I wanted to provide the most general as possible standard for defining human worth, giving some kind of respecting the frame of civilizational presences or the presence on the planet as of now, but regulating it from now on. Not going too much into questioning the present construct. It seems we have to do it. It seems we have to employ genetic card approach to be established. Here delivering myself as a standard to be established how you derive versus the standard. This conversation ends right now. On any further any other issues, I have no intention to develop further conversation on any other issues because I do not have a valid authority to which I can deliver that level of conversation. In order that we continue to discuss the most important matters about this planet, it will need to be constructed suitable authority, which I would call basically my authority. That is my based upon my standard, my work. Basically, I create my authority as representation of Earth, and then we start talking as a planet on any valid issue. In this kind of setting, you get nothing any further out of this. This is final line. I'm not crossing this line. Rather, we are going now to spend the rest of the time into establishing the most correct authority of the planet before we continue to discuss these constitutional matters of the planet. It will be a question of properly established, properly recognized authority. As how we are today, you don't have that properly established. All of my efforts will be wasted to establish my authority on Earth. So I can bring further discussions of the planet in relation to planetary identity. You would be worthless any further information or discussing all it. You would not, at the moment, I am not, excuse me, I don't have my platform. How on earth do you think this is going to work? Exactly. I'm not here on my knees because I do not exist as a person on my knees versus this planet. So I'm accusing monarchy of Earth, monarchy of England for identity theft, including theft of my right to complain. They are, as I understand, have stolen even my complaint. So they are the one complaining now. I would really like to understand, we and everyone else out there, on what on earth they would be exactly complaining. No, you say what's going on here is that they are completely fabricating, completely duplicating my profile, including my complaint. That is what's going on here. Complete, ultimate copying of one's existence. Total copying of one's existence. That is exactly what that protocol has become. As such, it cannot be legitimized, it cannot be given legal grounds. And I'm calling up on the planet that at the moment exists as the biggest loser of all to notice immediately what's going on here and launch the immediate action to declare the monarchy of England as identity theft protocol. I expect this to be a liability of the entire planet, responsibility and liability of the entire planet to notice that we are talking about most straightforward identity theft in England. If you don't notice and do not act upon that, then you have become one huge black hole rather than a planet, Earthians yourself. So as much as I have found some remains of former empire still very much embodied even within the context of monarchy of England, which clearly reveals its much bigger size behind the first impression. And the members of that family should not refer, therefore, to the bigger picture of protocol they call theirs as wrong, because they are just shrinked version of the same. So if you are criticizing the bigger version, then they are basically shooting themselves in the foot there, or shooting the protocol in the foot, and we don't want that to happen. Now that you have noticed just bigger size of the same format in which out of which you have been born, we need to discuss the bigger size of that formation, and clearly that is what I am doing today. So I don't want to hear you continuing to oppose me while you are just shrinked and isolated version, like a little kid that ran away from the actual household and now has a vacant in the smallest room of it, and pretend they have not noticed they have a vacant in the smallest room of the actual kingdom. It's going to be as good joke for the daily news agencies for sure, and nothing more than that. So you have a vacant today England in realization that there is much bigger kingdom of which you're part of. That is what are your positions as we speak, and I'm going to ask you to silence yourself while I continue to deal with the situation, because it has fallen on my shoulders. And last thing we want when we are sitting and holding amphitheater is some of the chairs that are being taken in that amphitheater and being properly attended are producing that much of a noise, so the amphitheater, the presenter, or the narrator and the philosopher, the leading philosopher, cannot get through his idea. There is nothing less irritating. And message to government of Macedonia and Macedonians: the kingdom is not government. And to the extent that they are still holding to reference of Macedonian kingdom, as that is what Macedonia means, it means kingdom, and their flag is reference to Macedonian kingdom, it is time that they learn how to behave in a kingdom, especially when they certainly become very lately proud to discover the remains of the previous amphitheaters, upon which history they still continue to define themselves on international or national stage. It is time to understand also equally the culture associated with amphitheaters. The culture is very similar, and when you are attending a university out there as a student, you just silence yourself. I heard a couple of group of Macedonians on YouTube channel discussing the real government. If real government is not about arguing, it's not real government. Who on earth is talking about real government when you just escalated amphitheaters out there? Well, you cannot go both ways. Either you're land of amphitheaters and land of kingdom, or you are tribunal tribe alliance out there. Tribe alliances without a flag, because tribe alliances do not have flag. The one that is going to win is the one that have more money and bigger army. That's government. Because the nature of a human, don't forget, it is about the nature of a human. It's not a robotic society. So there is a prescribed code implemented ahead of time. No, it's in the nature of humanity. And you bring tribes in government, It's the nature of humanity. Bigger money and bigger army is going to win. That's government. Now here I'm promoting something else. Here I'm talking the actual formation of life, a long-lasting experience or perceptions, that what we have learned as a humanity, what we have learned as a humans, as a civilization, what kind of configuration we have discovered, in what kind of configuration we exist on these energetic levels, where we happen to notice female energy. You're still going to talk to me about government. How many women are in government? How many women are in society? Is it roughly 50%? Do you have same ratio in governments? No, you don't. Well, then your government out of question. Your government is not a relevant medium to govern the society if it does not reflect actual format of society.